Welcome to week 1-3, week 13, the final week of the regular season of the League of Legends, and Jesse Nelly bringing us in today with the heart of a champion, which is what it's going to take for each and every one of you to get in the playoffs this week, boys. Did you hear that, Elizabeth? Here come the big ones. No idea what it means, but it gets people going. Heart of a champion, Nelly bringing us in today. Nelly, obviously, our boy. If you do not like Nelly, you can leave the league. It's going to get crazy this week. And there are a lot of teams that are alive, but really there are 8 teams, in my opinion, that still have a chance to get into the playoffs. There are 3 teams, if not 4, who are pretty much secure of getting in as well. So we'll break all that down here in a minute. I'll give you my playoff picks, the teams that I think will get into the playoffs, as well as maybe rank them, who's going to win the money this year. So a lot of money to be had, a lot of paper to be stacked. But before we stack any paper, we need to stack up the reputation of the Tesler, Adler, and Wayland law firm, because they do everything. They do the dirty work that I don't want to do, that you don't want to do. They take care of all that nonsense for you. They clean the closet. They dirty the closet. They hide the body in the closet, from the closet. They will kill people. They know people who hurt people. They know people who threaten people. They will bring the aluminum baseball bat to the door of the bad guy and tell him what's up. So, Tesler, Adler, Wayland law firm, if you have committed a crime, want to commit a crime, want a divorce, child custody situations, hit up the Tesler, Adler, and Wayland law firm. They will take very, very, very good care of you. We're bringing it to you from the 109 today, as always, and taking a look at the pickups this week. I had a Dalvin Cook going to be in the toilet bowl, so hoping maybe, if he pops off again, he was having a big old year, second-round keeper, just why not have him on the squad? Some other things, Mohamed Sanu has a good year, been having a really solid year. Make America Gronk again, picked him up, not strong at receiver, so pretty good move by him. Jacquizz Rodgers, possibly starting running back, Luckbox added him. Case Keenum, dude's going to have a starting job. The way he's playing, there's no way that they can bench him. Really, really happy for Case Keenum as well. But I mean, you just look at his numbers. The dude, he's been playing great. He's been playing great, especially at home. That Minnesota team, and they have Diggs healthy, they're a force. They're going to be something to be reckoned with in the playoffs, certainly. Austin Hooper, thank goodness, is not playing for my brother this week. Picks up the red-hot Ricky Seals-Jones, the Seal, the Flapper. And, another kind of similar to what name is escaping me now, but the downfield, Will Fuller. Remember when he had, 11 catches and 6 or 7 touchdowns? It's kind of what Ricky Seals-Jones is doing, but Luke needs him to keep it up. Devonta Booker, a guy who needed to be owned. Oz picked him up, may play him against Jesse in an important game this week. And I'll tell you what, Eli Manning, if you all didn't see the interview, he got very, very emotional. They asked him some questions about not starting. Is this his last game for New York? Is this his last game in the NFL? And I love Eli. And, I think Eli's really good for football. I always root for good human beings. I just really, really like Eli Manning. And I get it if you have somebody young and up and coming, but Geno Smith, come on now. I mean, you're going to bench a guy who started, 210 games in a row, second longest streak in the NFL, or Geno Smith. It's not Eli's fault that everyone on your team is hurt and you can't block, and you haven't had a running game in 10 years. So, Brandon Jacobs isn't walking through that door. So, I just feel really, really bad for Eli, and I think it's ridiculous. That Giants organization, they should be ashamed of themselves, because that's laughable. I mean, and this is what they do, right? They threaten to fire Tom Coughlin 90 million times, and he wins the Super Bowl. But anyway, the things to look at here, guys, and once again, look at this on your own if you want to figure out your own playoff scenario. I really think that based on the points for, and I have these written down, Make America Gronk again and Mr. Luckbox are going to have the buys. Really doesn't matter who the 1 seed is. So this week they can just not rest their starters, but maybe, let them know, save the good stuff for a couple weeks from now, because we're not going to be playing for a while. Next week they can rest their starters. Big time advantage there. Have them fresh for week 15. Chance to get into that money. Simply simple victory. Another team in the playoffs. Congratulations, Tyler, on a good year. I did not always love your team. I don't honestly know how you did it, but Todd Gurley and Carson Wentz balled out pretty hard for you. And then, Marshawn Lynch hit in a couple good spots, and Nelson Aguilar recovers fumbles for touchdowns. So certainly a very strong running back quarterback tandem there, and good luck to Tyler in the playoffs. Again, you'll need to win next week to get in the money. Okay. Mighty Midgets is a team that I really like his situation as well. Mighty Midgets has 1,150 points, which is about the right amount of points. His team's been pretty consistent of late, and we'll look at it here in a second. But basically, as long as his team doesn't go for 80 or 90 points, if he gets up around that 100 mark, he should feel pretty good about getting in the playoffs, even with a loss, just because of where he is there. You see him 1150.6 in a very good points for situation. So, Mighty Midgets, I think you're in the playoffs this week with a win for sure, and maybe even with a loss. Hide Your Children, another team that controls his own destiny. And we'll talk about Hyde in a little bit. Hide Your Children, if you weren't watching, put 145 on me last week. So thanks for that. Michael went 0-2 against you this year. Another team that controls his own destiny, and then one other team controls his own destiny, and that is Shake and Bake. So obviously going to be rather anticlimactic if all three of these teams win. We will have the top 6 in these standings in the playoffs. However, I do not think that's going to happen this week. I do not think that they will all get wins. So let's go through this scenario. Let's go through these previews. And I'm going to assume that by this time, everyone has their lineups set because it is Thursday, which this year a couple teams haven't always done that. I'm going to go ahead and ignore my matchup. I'm not entirely eliminated, but I don't have good matchups this week, and I need to outscore people by a lot. My team is 20 points behind Luke's team, Michael's team, 30 points behind the Lollipop Guild. And I have to beat maybe the best or second best team in the league. So I just think too many things are going to really have to go right for my team. And my team hasn't really gone off this year. So, and I think I have a team that could do it. But it's very unrealistic for my team to make the playoffs. Adam, congratulations on the bye. We'll break down your team more next week, but certainly we like where you are. I'm very worried about Kareem Hunt. Just, man. And I'm worried about that entire offense. So that includes Tyreek Hill for my brother as well. He needs a big week out of Tyreek. Really, Travis Kelce is the only guy who's been consistent here. You just look at this and 6.8, 6.1, 7.7, 2.6. Kareem Hunt's not a guy you can start right now. And that sounds insane. And he has a great matchup with the Jets. Not statistically, you think Kansas City can get ahead and run the ball, but, that's tough. That's really tough. Adam's going to need Devonta Freeman to come back and be Devonta Freeman. D's Nuts and the Butt Buddies. This is actually a matchup I think we can ignore. And not to say that Pat couldn't find a way in. I just don't think that he's in a position where he has enough points. So these guys that have battled this year, Danny's got some nice keeper options. So Pat, he managed his team to the best of his ability and just got a little bit unlucky. Quarterback injuries really hurt Pat. The ceiling on his receivers, Will Fuller and Jordy Nelson, just killed him with injuries. And Dak I don't have enough time to talk about Dak Prescott's downfall because it's been wretched the last couple weeks. Injury bug and Mighty Midgets. And again, this is one I kind of touched on earlier. The Mighty Midgets are a big favorite here. So you like them to get in the playoffs with a win, be 7-6, and they'll be a team. Adam will for the second year in a row after finishing third last year. Okay, Adam will be a team with a very similar team to what he had last year. Actually, many of the same players. He'll be a team that'll be in the playoffs. So win or loss here, I think he puts up 100, and that's all he needs to get into the playoffs. Simply Simple Victory and Antonio Brown's Hemorrhoid. Now, this is the second biggest match of the slate this week. Not for Tyler. Okay, Tyler's in the playoffs. Tyler cannot get a bye, so Tyler's pretty much set. It really doesn't matter what Tyler's team does this week. Obviously, he's hoping they can stay healthy. I read something yesterday, or maybe I heard it on a podcast. Somebody was saying, is T.Y. Hilton droppable? And, just look at his box scores. 1.9, 2.7, 1.5, 31, 2.3, 1.5. That is, come on, T.Y. Seriously. I don't care who's throwing you the ball, but that's inexcusable. You look at it, and this is the 18th best receiver. A couple weeks ago he was 4. T.Y., would you play football? It's ridiculous. Play, 2 catches, 15 yards, 2 catches, 23. I don't know. A lot of bad things are going on with the Colts, but T.Y. Hilton is a cancer. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. And you can't go out and put up those stat lines. You're not helping your team. It's really upsetting is what it is. But Antonio Brown's hemorrhoid, as we discussed earlier, he picked up Ricky Seals-Jones. And he's been a guy who's getting into the end zone. He's a guy who's going to be in a high-scoring game with the Rams. They're good against the tight end, but, you got to throw to catch up. So I like that more than Hooper. But as I kind of touched on earlier, I think Luke can get into the playoffs with a win. But his team has to go for 120, 125, 130. And his team went off last week, so they're in good form. But he has the players in the matchups to do it. So I think there's an outside chance that Luke wins and gets in the playoffs. I give it about a 38% chance. But first and foremost, he's got to win this week against Simply Simple, a playoff team who's had a great year. Here's MAGA and Hide Your Children. As I discussed earlier, Hide Your Children is in a win-and-you're-in situation, which would be big for Michael. He's dealt with some adversity this year, but if you look at his team, he's got a darn good team. And it's led now by Phillip Rivers, who went completely bananas last week. Michael's team went for a whole bunch. Julio Jones did what Julio Jones does once or twice a year. This is how he becomes a top 2 or 3 receiver every year, because he is mediocre for 6, 7, 8 weeks, and then he goes 12, 253, and 2 tubby times. I like Michael's team to be one of those playoff teams, win or lose, just because I like the direction he's going. His points for right now. The way that would be sneaky for Michael to get kicked out here, and we'll discuss this here in a moment. I'm going to go ahead and put Adam Brandt's team in the playoffs. So we have MAGA, we have Luck, we have Tyler's team, and we have the Mighty Midgets. So now we have 4 teams battling for 2 spots. 2 of those teams are Shake and Bake and the Lollipop Guild, and there's nothing more you can ask for if you are Shake and Bake, if you are Jesse Shulver, than a defining moment win-and-you're-in situation. And that starts, I believe, tonight with Corporal Kirk Cousins at Dallas. And if you look at Kirk Cousins, he's had a smashing year. He's had a very good year by fantasy standards. He's not a good NFL quarterback, but he's a good fantasy player. So this will be interesting. And my question really is, can Dallas score enough to make this a shootout? You notice they're bad against the quarterback. But this could be a Samaje Perine spot. So Jesse, he's going to need Dak to play well tonight to try to see that ceiling that I think he needs from Kirk Cousins going up against the Lollipop Guild. Alex Collins is a guy who's been getting in the end zone kind of flukily. As I've talked about before, I like Alex Collins. He was on my team a long time ago this year. Alfred Morris, chopping carries up. Run DMC retired. Congratulations, Darren McFadden, on your career. You were relevant. Alshon Jeffrey, I don't know much about this questionable tag, but what I do know is, tell you what though, if this is going to be big, Jay, Alshon, there's no reason to play him when you're running away with the NFC. So Jesse needs Alshon to play, and if he does, he's in a smash spot. Seattle's secondary is awful right now. Without Richard Sherman, they're down another corner. They're down their all-pro safety. They're just not in a good spot. So Alshon in a smash spot, and Jesse's going to need him to smash if he wants to win this matchup. Because when I look at the Lollipop, I see this Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara stack, and my gosh, it's dangerous. Alvin Kamara, probably the best keeper in the league next year, 11th round, love it. DeMarco Murray, Demaryius Thomas, Larry Fitzgerald. Just what I see over here are targets. I see goal line touches, and that would concern me if I were Jesse. So what I'm predicting is a Lollipop Guild victory. And then this is what it comes down to. We have, coming into the week, Hide Your Children, 6-6, 1,130 points. Controls his destiny. If he wins, he's in. I think Mike gets in. Congratulations. So the last 2 spots in the league are going to come down to Jason. Has to win this matchup. He's currently up 10 points on Luke's team. Antonio Brown's hemorrhoid with 1,130. Both of those teams win this week. The team that has the most points has the last spot for the playoffs. MAGA, Luckbox Buys, Tyler, Mighty Midgets, Hide Your Children, and Antonio Brown's Body Parts are your playoff teams this year. That is the lock of the week. We'll see you next week, boys. Keep setting your lineups.